Wyoming for Wyomingites, rejecting outsider agendas. My friends, neighbors, and fellow Wyomingites, let's talk about something that's eating away at the heart of our state. Something that threatens the very independence, resilience, and common sense that define us. We pride ourselves on being a state that governs itself. We don't take orders from Washington elites. We don't bend to the will of out-of-state interests. And we certainly don't let others tell us what's best for Wyoming. That's not who we are. But right now, there's a force at work trying to change that. A group that claims to stand for freedom, but is doing the exact opposite. The so-called Freedom Caucus. But let's call it what it really is. The Outside Control Caucus isn't fighting for Wyoming. It's taking orders from beyond our borders, pushing a reckless, ideological agenda that has nothing to do with our values, our people, or our way of life. They're waging political battles imported from other states, using Wyoming as a pawn in a game we never asked to play. And while they spout off about liberty and righteousness, they're quietly dismantling our schools, hurting our communities, and choking the very economy that keeps our families fed. They scream about government overreach, yet they want to dictate how we educate our children. They claim to stand against radical agendas, yet they bring in the same scorched earth tactics we see from the far left: division, misinformation, and an utter refusal to work together. They preach independence but demand blind loyalty. That's not leadership, that's not integrity, and it's certainly not the Wyoming way. We believe in solving problems, not creating them. We believe in honesty, in working hard, in helping our neighbors, not tearing them down with empty rhetoric and half-truths. We know that keeping our schools strong means securing our future. We know that a thriving economy doesn't come from government chaos, but from stability, reason, and common-sense leadership. It comes from the kind of leadership that looks forward, generates diversity, and is rooted in sensibility absent from extreme points of view. So, I ask you, are we going to let out-of-state interests turn Wyoming into a battleground for their own fights? Are we going to let them tell us who we are, how we should live, and what's best for our families? Or are we going to stand up and say enough is enough? Because I believe in Wyoming. I believe in our independent spirit. I believe in leaders who answer to their communities, not to outside donors, not to political games, and certainly not to those who put power over people.
Let's take back our state, our schools, our economy, and our future.
Let's remind the so-called Freedom Caucus that here in Wyoming, we don't follow orders. We lead with wisdom, strength, and the values that have always made us who we are. Wyoming is for Wyomingites. And that's how it's going to stay.